Very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all on frequency. This is ZA6YI hosting the DATV Worldwide Net today, and today we have a lovely group of guys on frequency, some we haven't seen for a long time. Welcome aboard again there to you, Tom, and also to Martin, G4FKK. And Martin, maybe you can tell us about the Sedits. Are they back in stock? And hello to Nigel. We haven't seen Nigel for some time. As usual, we just wish to compliment and thank the Qatar Satellite Company for allowing us the opportunity to be on their satellite. We also wish to thank the BATC, the AMSAT DL, and of course AMSAT UK for all the valued work and inputs that have been done, and also the various different software programmers like Everest and Christian and F1 EJP, and of course Tom and Ohan. Incidentally, Ohan had a blowout on his motor car, blew his tire and wrote off his motor car on Friday. Thank God he's okay, his family's okay, but he's a bit rattled. I spoke to him today, and he's just been looking, but he's not in a good space, but he's okay physically. So that's the most important thing, but could have been worse. One never knows the moment, eh? Right, let's just have a look today to see who's on the list. As you were, I pressed the wrong button. Anyway, I hope it's not too serious. Let's just see. Right, we have Papa Alpha 3 Fox Bravo X-Ray Benno. Benno, you send it to Martin, G4FKK. Hello, Martin. And to Tom, ZR6TG after that. And then to Nick, G4IMO. And then to Martin again, G8KOE. To Mike, G0 Mike Juliet Whiskey. And then to Nigel. There was somebody else on the about to put his name down, but he's gone silent. But I'm sure we'll just keep the list going from time to time. Certainly hope the YouTube link's okay. And hello to Ari. This is cool. Ari, nice to have you on, and I certainly hope it's cooler than those eruptions you guys have been having. Tango Fox 1 Alpha, he's watching on YouTube at the moment. Nice to have you on, Ari, and hope you're all safe, my dear friend. Okay, let's pass the ball to Benno, Papa Alpha 3 Fox X-Ray Bravo, if you don't mind taking it, from Zulu Sierra 6 Yankee India.
I got some messages. I see I have no audio. Sorry for that. I got messages on several occasions. Sorry for that. That's a rookie mistake. Greetings to you all. Yeah, forgot to turn on the microphone. I didn't notice the slider. Let's quickly check. It should all work now. And yeah, I have audio now, no problem. Okay, well, sorry for that. That's a rookie mistake. Greetings to you all. Nice to see Nigel again, and also Martin on this net. FKK. Saw you last Thursday, obviously, and but it's always nice to see you also on this net. And to start with the last part, the message from Tom just on the WhatsApp box about 09 with the new Pico support. I quickly dig out my toolbox, and there's a Pico, and there's a piece of a board with already the connectors at the moment on the right spot, so that will fit nicely on the mini tuner. So I have all the tools here to during the net I can figure out, but I already saw that the drawings supplied by the software guys are a little pain in the ass. So now I was looking at KiCad if I can make a better drawing, because to be able to build it, you need clear pictures of what you need to connect. But that will be a progress today or tomorrow, and maybe Mike is quicker than myself. He probably can draw this before he is on the net, and he's finished the drawing, the KiCad drawing by then. But I think that's the next step, and then someone will make some boards of that to replace that very expensive transport that module. I have still one or two lying around here, so I don't have a problem yet, but those modules need to be replaced. And yeah, I hope Martin can tell us a little bit about the Serit. I'm not going to tell anything about that, but I really hope that part is on the road soon, and I think that will give a nice ejection of a nice extension of our hobby, and a lot of stations already want this tuner which is on there. Well, that's basically it for me for now. Besides having experimented something on the terrestrial part, I have one question. I have a DAT Pluto, and yeah, I know how to DFU it. I know how to get into it. I know how to update the software, but it is, well, it's not working like it should do. What it does is, if I plug the USB, I get a nice boing for Windows, and I get a blue LED, but it never blinks. So it seems to be in DFU mode, but I can still reach the software. I have my network address. I can put it to the network address. I can open the browser and get into the Everest firmware. I even can update it to whatever version, but during the update it never starts blinking fast. It only has a steady LED. Never blinks fast, and the other one is only faint on. And the next thing is, it won't transmit. But it's not even in the browser. When you press the transmit button on the browser, normally it goes on online or on air, and this one doesn't give the on air. It only is online. I know obviously the patch, it's a C, so it should have the patch, and it has the patch, but it's never going to be online on air, and it's never. And I also, and that's the next thing, when I try to find it on an SDR console, it cannot find it. It's not installed as a Pluto, so it's not controllable from SDR console. So I do have the way to get in there with Pluto. I do. I can. With the Putty. I can go in there with Putty. I can go in there with. It's a folder. It's a browser. It has the network address. I can go in there, no problems, but it never can transmit, and I have no clue. And actually, I have now two of them, because this one is here, and one of the locals I try to help, he has exactly the same problem. Completely independent from me, it was not me doing, and it has the same problem. And I wonder if anyone knows where to look, because I'm kind of stuck. It has the 5 volts. It pulls quite a bit of 5 volt, by the way. I actually have to put in the second USB port to get 5 volt. If I only do one USB port, the data port, it's up to 3.5 volt or something. I need to add the second port to get the right 5 volt. So it really pulls some amps, and I wonder if something is broken and if someone knows where to look from here on. It has all the voltages, 1 volt, 1.8 volt, 1.3 volt, 5 volt, but it's not going on air. Well, that's a pity, always, especially because this one is not old, and that's only used as a test or an extra Pluto here on the table. Well, that's all from me. Microphone on to Martin, FKK, from Papa Alpha 3 Foxtrot Bravo X-Ray. Do I have a test card? Yes, I have. Martin, take it away.
Yeah, very good, Benno. Slightly more glamorous test card than mine. There we go. Yes, good morning, evening, afternoon to everyone. Nice to be on the net again. Sundays here are normally, well, it's a challenge to get anything done on a Sunday, because we're either out somewhere or someone's round here. But today all is quiet, so I've taken the opportunity to do a few things in the shack, mainly horological, to be honest, which is why I'm in my lab coat, try and stop dust from jumpers and shirts and things getting in the gadgets. One fewer daffodil. Oh, is there? Ooh. I think one might be hiding around the corner, Mike. But I'm glad you noticed them. Anne was a bit worried that they might be fading a bit. I said, no, they're fine. I think they're largely out of focus, to be honest. Anyway, it's good to be back on with a bit of time. So it was nice to see you, Nigel, testing earlier. Sorry to hear about Owen, Gary. That's bad news, but well, it's good news. He's still here. I got knocked off a motorbike when I was 16 and was in hospital for 3 months and on crutches for another 3 or 4. So hopefully he's fighting fit. And the Cerrits, yeah, well, the latest news I have on the Cerrits, and I may not be completely up to date, is that we have some, at least, most probably, in this country. So they've arrived, but last I heard we were still waiting to see what the the various authorities would charge us for import duties, etc., etc. So we have them, and they will be very shortly available to buy again. No pre-orders at the moment. I think that would be too much for the poor shopkeeper, Noel, to deal with. And very good progress has been made, as Benno alluded to. There's work going on with the clever boys in the class, as I like to call them, trying to find an alternative to the FTDI board that Benno showed us, which is quite an expensive item. Because the sad news on the Serets is that they will be inevitably more expensive. That we had to have them specially made. The Seret had to source chips because they're not generally available anymore, the chips in the Seret tuners. So they are more expensive. It was a special order, but we're trying to mitigate that a bit by perhaps rejigging some of the other things on the board. And Mike, I suspect, is going to find himself very busy on KiCad. I don't know if anyone's told you yet, Mike. I'm sure they must have done, or asked, I should say. Anyway, so that's the latest there. It's interesting with the Pico, Benno, because I've been following some of the stuff online, and I have got a couple of Picos here, but I fell at the pretty much the first hurdle. I started loading up all the software and firmware to program them up, and as soon as it got to Visual Studio, whatever they call it these days, it didn't work. I couldn't make it work, so I was going to wait till Tom had a few minutes to spare one day, and he could talk me through loading that stuff up. Anyway, yeah, you had no audio at first, Benno, but you got the audio. It was a bit crunchy, I think is the technical term, but perfectly Q5. I wonder if you're getting the transport analysis showing up on the Pluto, Benno, but it sounds to me as if they seem to be a bit fragile when inside they've got circuitry to so it can detect from where it's getting power, so whether it's just USB or both connectors connected. And I've had a couple that have had trouble with that circuitry, but they'll be better experts than me. Lost mic signal, Martin. Oh, I've still got my mic here, Nigel. Yeah, I wonder. Mike's wondering whether your dish may have blown off skew or something, because you were when you were testing 1/4 here, you were at D3, and Mike was predicting that if you went to 1/2, I should be still getting a signal. But I didn't. When you went over to 1/2, I had no decode at all. But my dish is much smaller than Mike's, and probably not pointing the right way either. Anyway, I was going to briefly, because while I've had all this time here, I've been fixing two watches, and I thought this was. I mean, I know no one's interested in this, but I was quite interested in the size differential. So this movement on the screen currently is an Omega 565, which is, I think, about 25 millimeters across. So these modern times, that's a fairly small movement. But if I can do this and keep everything in focus, when you compare that to this is another Omega movement. Which is going to be difficult to keep in focus. But anyway, that's a very great deal smaller and much more fiddly. I mean, this one's fiddly enough, to be honest, but look at that. The Omega really got the engineering right, although I suspect most watchmakers would consider this movement really too small. It's very, very fiddly. Anyway, enough of that. I'll put those back under their dust covers, and then get this lab coat off and concentrate properly on the net. So coming up next is Tom, ZR6TG. It was nice to talk to you again the other day. Great to see you on again, Tom. And as I say, from what I'm reading on Tinternet, there's sterling work going on with the the next generations. Size matters, Nick. Yeah, well, it certainly does on in this hobby, Mike. Right. Okay. So, without further ado, round to you, Tom. ZR6TG and the Sunday Worldwide Net. G4 Fox King standing by.
Thanks, Martin. G4 FKK, Zulu Romeo 6 Tango Golf. I'll just push my audio up here a bit. Okay, that sounds good. Yeah, let's get the camera on, yeah. There we go. Good to see everybody again. I can almost say happy 2024 because I haven't been on QO-100 since, or on the DATV since last year. But yeah, good to see everybody again. Yeah, my whole setup was down on the roof. We had some windstorms here end of last year before Christmas, and it destroyed a few things. And between work and holidays and all that, it took me a while to get everything back up and running again. But yeah, here we are. Everything's back up, and great to be back. Benno, good to see you there. And yeah, see you already building the adapter there. And Martin, good to see you as well. And yeah, nice chat the other evening. Really enjoyed it. From my side, I've been quite busy with a few things. One, there's a new open tuner out. You guys probably saw some of the messages today. It's got fixes on the VLC side. No sound. Nigel, let's just see. Nigel, I'm receiving sound, so no problem. Okay. Yeah, so a few things that I've been busy with. Well, like I was saying, the new open tuner is released today, number 0.9. So it's got a few additions. One is the pesky VLC bugs where it was opening up different videos or different windows. That should be fixed now. It's looking fine on my side, but yeah, I'd love some feedback on that. Then MPV, I've integrated MPV as well, so now you can get you can choose between VLC, FFmpeg and MPV, and then the MPV also works particularly well for the VCC and the H.266 broadcasts. So feedback on that would also be nice. The reason for the MPV is I've been working on a cross-platform version of OpenTuner, one that will work on Windows, Mac and Linux. I've actually got, I can show you a screenshot of what it's looking like right now. There we go. Yeah, my MPV is similar, it's a player like VLC and FFmpeg. So that's the Linux version, or the cross-platform one. It runs on the Windows and Linux, and I'm using MPV in that one. It just works so much better for the cross-platform side. And then that one has also got a window manager in there, so it'll support the Longmont, Winter Hill and Direct Hardware, all of them together in one. So that's coming along nicely, but it's still early days for that one. So the Windows Open Tuner is still the way to go, but that one will work fine. And then the other addition on the Open Tuner version from today is the support of Colin's project, Colin, G4 EML. He's been working, like everybody's mentioned, on the replacement for the FTDI module. I can show you my little testing hack. This is what the adapter looks like. It's not pretty, but it works, and Colin has done an amazing job there getting it to work. And it supports both transport streams, so you get dual functionality on one tuner. And it's all one nice little package, and it also, you know, the beauty of that, it uses one USB cable. So yeah, I've been testing it for the past 2 days, and it seems to be working well. So OpenTuner has got support for that as well. So if anybody wants to try that out, there's no official adapters or anything like that yet, so it's a bit of a DIY job. But yeah, it seems to be working, so I think it'd be nice. I think Colin would appreciate it. There's more feedback on how well it works, but on my side it seems to be working well. So in OpenTuner, you can, on the latest version, you can now select between default the FTDI or default the Pico tuner, and then, or alternatively, if you're playing with both, you can set it that it asks you when you connect which one you want to connect to. So yeah, still playing around with it, still a few improvements that can be done, but overall it's working well. And then what else? Oh yes, I've also been playing. Okay, so quick tune. I always, because of all the windows and stuff that we have, I always keep losing my quick tune. So I've actually been turning that into a cross-platform version as well, so that it can run on a Raspberry Pi. So I've got this type of thing going on. So it's a Raspberry Pi with one of those smart display. Well, it's the official Raspberry Pi display, but it's got a nice smart display enclosure, and it's interactive. It works with the touchscreen, so you can just select the different signals directly on the small screen. So I don't have to go look for for quick tune anymore, because I keep on losing that. Let me just take that away there. And yeah, there's a bunch of small things still in between going as well. But I still need to spend some time on my DATV setup again. I'm not running on a big dish. I'm running on the 1.2 meter dish, which seems to be working just fine. I've got a new bigger dish as well, but there's still some brackets and stuff that I need to fabricate to get it all together. But yeah, this is a good start. Okay, that's pretty much all from me. Martin, I love that those close-ups of the watch. It's, I don't understand half of it, but it looks very cool, and you're right, that other one is very small. But yeah, good to see you there, and Benno as well, and good luck with the wiring on the adapter. Yeah, the connection, well, the connection diagram does tell you, if you compare it with the mini tuner version 2 schematic that Mike did, then you'll see Colin's notes actually make sense about what to connect where. So it's more fiddly with the soldering than what it actually is, just seeing what the pinouts are. But yeah, shout if you get stuck. And keep your wires short, you don't want long wires on that one. Okay, that's enough from me. I'm going to hand it over there to Nick. Nick, good to see you. It's going to be good seeing you again as well. G4IMO, you're from Zulu Romeo 6 Tango Golf.
Yep. Okay, Tom, thanks for that. Yep. Turn my audio down. Where's my camera? There we go. Right. Anyway, yes, good afternoon to everybody. Nice to see you. Nice to see you all on here. Yeah, it's been a while since I've been on here. I haven't been too well. The ex-whale had a really nasty cold, which she acquired at work, and she was off for about a week, and then she passed it on to me. So I haven't been feeling too good. But anyway, I'm more or less recovered now. So anyway, what have I been up to? Well, very little. Oh yes, I don't know what happened there, but I look at the list to see who was on, and I had it on the screen, and I was writing down on a piece of paper the list so I can make notes against everybody. And when I looked up at the list again, there was only 3 people on the list. They disappeared. And I wasn't on there anymore, so I put myself on the list again, which meant I was number 4. So I don't know what happened to everybody else, but anyway, I think the problem is at my end, because I was using Firefox for the first time to look at the wideband chat, because it auto scrolls when I use the Edge, Microsoft Edge, is it? It won't scroll. It doesn't scroll up, so that's a real pain. So I thought I'll use Firefox, and the scroll was working, but unfortunately, when you look at the list, it was saying something about I need to resize the window, which I need to look into. But it's probably down to the fact that I've now changed my monitor. I swapped the monitor. This monitor on the PC was the one that was on the RIDE receiver, because the original PC monitor, which was an AOC monitor, generated so much interference that I couldn't hear my low orbit satellites on 137 megahertz. There was so much interference coming from the screen. Anyway, it's not particularly cold here. It's about 9 degrees, something like that. But we've got a lot of low pressures lurking around, so the weather's not very good. It's sort of, we've had quite a lot of rain here. Anyway, I've been last week I've been playing around with this a little Samba 365 robot vacuum cleaner, trying to repair it. It's now repaired. It now works, but it's not very easy to work on, because it's got these infrared sensors. There's one on there, one on the front, another one round here. And also, if you want to work on it, you have to operate the micro switches as well on here. Each of these operates a micro switch. But the fault was you switched it on and it ran for about 3 seconds and then it stopped. I noticed the main brush roller wasn't rotating, and that was all tangled up with hair. The XYL's hair, I hasten to add, it wasn't my hair. So I untangled that and lubricated the roller, and that got that all going again, but it still didn't work. It still kept stopping. I'd already changed the rechargeable batteries in there, but it was the cable that had a fairly heavy duty connector on it that connects onto the printed circuit board. The connections weren't making contact properly. So anyway, it's all working now. So that's all fixed. So, oh yes, okay, Tom. Congratulations on the work on the Open Tuner. That sounds very good. Is it the MPV player? Is that for when you're receiving H.266? Is it? I think when people were experimenting, I had a separate MPV player on the screen here, which I could use. But I presume you've incorporated that into the Open Tuner, which is excellent. That's very good. Right, I think that's about it for me. I'll put it round to Martin. Yeah, Martin, with your interest in pirate radio, did you hear the sad news about the LV-18? I wonder. If not, I will elaborate on my next over. Anyway, round to you, Martin. G8KOE to take G4IMO.
Right, let's see whether we got any sound. Have we got any sound? Right. Yes, we have. Good. LV-18. No, I didn't hear the sad news. So if you could elaborate on that, would be good. And yeah, sorry to hear about Ohan and his accident. So best wishes to him if he is by any chance monitoring. But yeah, I expect Gary will pass it on. And I did notice that Gary, when he started things up, said, welcome everybody on frequency. Well, before the net, he made me alter my frequency, so I reckon I'm off now. So anyway, I attacked him by telling him to move his microphone. So if his sound's not right, then it's my fault as well. What have I been up to? Usually playing with DATV Red to start with, which I've now got working with the latest firmware, the 0.5.15.2, both on the wideband and on the narrowband side of things. I had problems with the narrowband side of things because that particular latest firmware changed the serial number of the Pluto, and when trying to find it in SDR console, before I did a rescan to find the Pluto, I was coming up with an error, but that was it. Everest is aware of the problem and is going to correct it on, I think, the next update. But that is all working and working well. 266 works well with it. 499326. Yeah, I don't know. What's everybody else's frequency? That's it. So anyway, so that is working exceptionally well, 266, and I noticed that, and it does seem to transmit on AV1, but I wasn't sure what I can use for AV1. So will the new Open Tuner do AV1? That's a quick question. I only just started sort of looking into things. Started to think about frequencies. Anyway, so anybody that's thinking of playing with DATV Red, it does work on the narrowband as well, so that is all good. I'm also testing at the moment Tom's program, and so far it's been sitting there and doing its thing, so thank you, Tom. Good to see you back. And why are you taking on more projects with handhelds? That's what I want to know. Haven't you got enough? But no, it's good. Let's go back to a more sensible screen. Otherwise we're going to end up with so many multiple ones. Screen. The other thing I did was where have we gone? Go back to there. I decided on my PA. Normally I've had the directional coupler in there and tapped it off to read a bit of RF. But I thought it's a bit pointless having it in all the time, because it's a bit arbitrary, the measurements I was getting. So we've now removed it. So and that improved things a little bit. So having sort of removed that and now driving it with a separate driver stage, things have been working a lot better. So that's quite pleased with that. So that's been good. My current has gone down. I used to be up in the sort of 14 amps sort of type of thing. I'm now at 10.5 amps for even more power out than I was getting before. So that's all good. Even the system is GPS locked. The tuner isn't, so okay. There's lots going on this chat to read. What else was I going to say? AV1 I've mentioned, off frequency. Oh, the other thing that getting back to DATV Red, and the Longwind MQTT sitting on a Raspberry Pi for the Longwind side of things. I couldn't get it to work. I tried at least 2 or 3 times and couldn't get it to work. And I finally decided to have one more go at it. So what I was doing wrong, I don't know, but it now works perfectly, which is quite convenient. So there we go. It says, so that's with mini tuner connected to the Raspberry Pi on the system, and all these others are set up. Normally I've been using a Windhill client, which interfaces a treat, but now we've gone to Open Tuner. I'll be testing that for a bit and see how we get on with that. There's just so many things to test and play with that I think we're very lucky to have people spending their time. So thanks Tom, Ohan, Everest, etc., etc., etc. There's just so many to mention, and Mike for pointing out all the things that I do wrong. The other thing I had a complaint about last week was that my sound was not that loud, or what. So since then we've changed the microphone position, so we've now put it on that we can get it nice and close. So I can overdo things into the red when I talk into it that close. So I think that's probably a lot of waffle from me. MBV is running fine now. Yeah, I'll put some 266 out later. Sound very good. Yeah, okay. Thanks then, Mike. I think your signals are really... The only thing with your signals is that they always take ages to lock in. But they were good earlier. And I don't have any problem with speakers falling off the wall, because I've put them under the bench, or under the desk, mainly because I didn't have enough room for them. And they now don't cut out since I've did the mod on the chip there. Right. Are you ready then, Mike? We'll put my new complicated test card, which is meaningless, but I thought we'd have a change with it. And I know what I was going to say. The other thing I forgot to mention. To you there, Benno. I presume you said you'd done all the DFU and such like and things and that. So I presume you went through the procedures that they say in the DFU, debugging DFU. That's how I recovered my Pluto that wasn't a piece of the world, but was doing all sorts of silly things, by slowly going through and following the procedures that they said in the DFU, debugging DFU, and it loaded things in. But you probably know what you're doing, and saying you've already done all that. So just confirming that you have actually go away, Del. That you did actually go through that, which I think you said you did, but so I did send you an email, which was the only bit of suggestion, but I don't know what I'm talking about, so apologies. Right, after that bit of waffle again, it's test card and yours, Mike, from G8KE.
Right, yeah, apologies for the lockup time, Martin. It sort of depends when it sends a frame. So it can be almost instant, or it can be about 1 second or so. Anyway, never mind. The sound should be on because I can see it bouncing up and down. There we go. Good to see Nigel again, and Tom. Right, I've got lots of comments here, and I'm wondering which order to do them in. Benno's Pluto maybe first. Yeah, it sounds like it's in a funny mode or something. I was going to suggest you go onto the analog website, but I think that's now on the wiki, which is what Martin was showing you. See if you can recover it that way. I did ask if it was a Norwegian blue or merely resting, but it does seem like it really isn't really resting, and it just needs a little bit of software tweaking to make it work. More concerning though is the current that it's taking. That is odd. But maybe that's a function of the state it's in and it's doing something, but I've not heard of that, so it's possible there's a component failed somewhere in the power supply area. So yeah, look at that. And the other reason it might not give any output is if the reference has failed, but you said it was a version C and I don't think you've changed the reference, so it can't be that. Right. So let's go on to the bench camera, and oh no, not the bench camera, sorry, the wandering camera, and we will wander. So I built a second pressure meter using a cheap AliExpress version of the Adafruit board, and well, they agree within about 0.3 millibars, which isn't bad considering all the things and the price, so that's something. But this is an inverse LCD, and it's not very good. You soon lose visibility of it, whereas the other one you don't. So I think I'll swap that for something a bit more readable. The idea was to have something I could use in the lounge that wasn't quite as bright, but there you go. I'll have a few fiddlings with that, but positioning is very important. Now here is a Pico. That's my Pico. It's sitting on the WizNet Ethernet hat. That doesn't mean we're using Ethernet yet, but I thought it should be an option. And this is the replacement for the FTDI module that we were talking about. So the idea is you would have this on the board sitting on a header, and you could put the Ethernet hat on top maybe if you wanted Ethernet going forwards, if it is actually working and it all turns out okay. It has a USB port, but look at it, it's a micro USB port. They are notoriously fragile, so a decision has been taken not to use it on the outside of the case, but to have a flying lead to a panel mounted USB cable. Now I'm not sure whether we're really allowed to talk about this, but I guess everybody knows all about it now, seeing as Benno mentioned it and Tom mentioned it. So what I will do is I will go to this window here, and you should still be able to see me looking in the wrong direction. I've been having a go at a PCB, and it's taken quite a lot of time, a day and a half now. But then again, we were starting with the mini tuner, but looking to put the new module in there. Don't be too worried about the fact that it's not showing the USB connector. Let me move my mouse and see if it appears on the window. No, not really. Oh yeah, there we go. So it's sitting in the case by this thing here is a USB connector, not the thing that's lighting up green. That's the NIM. The idea is that you wire to this header here from there with a USB connector. Alternatively, you can use one of the ones you can get on eBay that give you a straight to panel mount, and just mount that on the panel as well. This was to make it a little bit easier, just to cut up an old lead and just wire it straight to the header. The other difference is here, and again I don't know if you can see that, but this is the LNB supply. Now the problem is, the spec is that this has to be only through-hole components or very large SMD, so the regulators are SMD, but they're not going to be an issue for anybody. This chip, however, might be, especially as it's got a pad on the bottom, but there isn't a through-hole version of it, so that'll have to be there. That's the RT5047. Right. Oh, we're already talking about Pikachu now. Oh well, too late now. No, I mean the idea has always been to produce a new board, and name is yet to be defined. So that gives you an idea of what it'll look like, maybe. Or at least that's what mine will look like. Whether the BATC produce one like this, TBD, but let's hope. So there we go. But you don't have to wait for this, and it'll be a while because it needs to be tested and everything else, and it needs to be properly beta tested, etc. And we have to see, and there may be some changes, and I haven't wired it up yet either. So going back to me, what you can do in the interim to help Tom beta test and Colin beta test is just take this and wire it onto an existing mini tuner version 2. There are a few gotchas here. One is that you need to have a 3.3 volt supply for the I2C. The other is that the various signals are on different headers. Some of them are on the mini tuner, sorry, the FTDI module socket. Some of them are on the second transport stream, some of them are elsewhere on the board. I think Colin's instructions actually indicate which jack on the mini tuner version 2 board they're on, so that would allow anyone who wanted to test this and even use it. Actually, there's no reason it wouldn't be usable. The only thing is there won't be the LNB supply, but there you go. Okay, the other comment I think was it was very good to see Nigel again, and although your signal's weak, Nigel, it's fine with me, but at a half rate it wasn't good enough for Martin, so hopefully you'll come back at a slightly reduced FEC, so 1/3 or 1/4, so that we can all see and hear you. So with that, on to you. 2E0EHH, G0 MJW.
One, two, three. Sorry for the delay. Let me put I'm only going to do one over as well, because I'm having major problems at this end. Let me get me pick camera up to working. Yeah, sorry I've not been on for a long time, but I've had medical problems and obviously other problems, and dish problems, and still looks like I'm still got dish problems. So being disabled, I'm not going to go into it, but you know, it's very hard for me to do things, but we try and we come on when we can. But nice to see Tom and everybody really. As I say, if I don't get on, I try and watch YouTube, but see that's sometimes difficult. All okay, I can't believe you have even attempted to. I know that's what wife said, she tells me off. Mike, she bloody, crucified me. Trouble is, I get halfway up and I freeze, and then I can't get up or down. But anyway, I try, I don't do it now. But then I have to wait for mates to come round to adjust the dish. What I might, I'm thinking about putting a motorised thing on it, but I don't know, that might be too difficult for me. But at least it'll keep it in line. Yeah, on the receive, it's anything on the wideband mini, on the tune, Winter Hill, no, the M0 DTS is quick tune. Anything below, you got a scale. Anything below, if anything the line, the signal that below 2.5 where the line is, I know it's probably difficult to explain, but anything below the line I can't get. So, if the signal even anyway, it's got to be above the 2.5 line. But anyway, that's me. So I'll only do one over because of them. It's crap this end. But I say nice to see everybody, and I've been listening on YouTube. And I think what I might have to do is switch everything back off and get me dish site lined up. And so we've had some heavy winds, so I presume both dishes have probably moved a little bit. Anyway, I think I can't see the list, so I don't know if it's. I think it's back to Gary, net control, because I can't even get the the spreadsheet up for whatever reason. No, not to worry anyway. So I'll put a test card up, and then nice to see everybody. I say, but I'll only do one over because things are not too good this end, and I'll watch till the end, obviously. So I'll just put a test card back to net control. when a test card comes up and well, I not see it, will I? I can't see it, silly me. Anyway, I think it's time enough. Thanks, Gary, and I'll watch on YouTube. 2E0HH going off and in the
Okay, very good, Nigel. Nice signal, D3, D4 from my side. So it was very good to see you, and thanks for coming up. And yeah, you have our total respect for doing what you do under the conditions you're doing it. So you're quite an example to many people. Benno, yeah, your audio is a bit crackly. I think Martin had the right terminology. I don't know why recently. You had a little bit last week as well. Perhaps there's a bit of a problem with a battery or a power supply. And I hope you get the Pluto going again. It's quite irritating. Just check all those 0 ohm fuses that they have in there. As Martin also said, between the two ports where that little filter sits. Sometimes that gives a bit of a problem, but we certainly hope you get that thing going. Martin, fantastic on those two little watches. My goodness, the first one was small enough, rightfully so, and your pictures were perfectly in focus. Compliments to that. It was beautiful to see them moving there and dead in focus. Lovely picture that indeed. And all noted on the tuners coming in. Yeah, I got I can't believe 3 years have passed so quickly. So I got a note from BATC last week, and I promptly renewed for another 3 years, and it all went through well. And I'd seen there was something in my outbox. I can't even remember ordering it, but I canned that because I'll wait for the tuners to arrive and maybe do something on the new tuners that Mike's working on and the rest. And so we'll see what happens there. And then I saw a comment. Let me just see now. You see, there's so many guys from Martin. Not Martin, as you were. I haven't seen him for a long time. But anyway, I'll come up with the name in David. G8 GKQ. Hello, Dave. Nice to see you listening or watching. Be lovely to have you join us. There's so much knowledge between Dave's ears that he can also share on this net. The BATC net's a bit late for us in South Africa, especially in the winter months, your winter months. But anyway, and I see Mike's also said, Dave, why not join? You're more than welcome, Dave. We'd love to have you on. So I'll give you a gap to come in before we move it to Benno. Tom, yeah, thanks for that. Nice to see you again, Tom. Haven't seen you for a while, even in the flesh. So it's good to see you looking good. Nice picture as usual, and audio was fine when you turned up the volume. So there was no problem with that at all, and good work. And I'm sure more progress is in the cards. Yeah, I must say, poor Tom has been very busy at the salt mine. He's been working 25 hours a day. He doesn't even take lunch hour. Anyway, so I'm pleased he's back on frequency, literally and figuratively. Nick, excellent picture from you like usual, and interesting on the vacuum cleaner. I'm pleased you had the courage to go and delve into it. Yeah, they are niggly little things when the one thing works with the other, and you first have to put the two micro switches on, and you ooh, my power dipped, but it's my generator going off, and we're back on normal power now. I was running for 4 hours on the big generator outside. So you might have seen the lights dim, but it doesn't take long to switch over. It's an electronic switcher, so I made sure it switches off. Yeah, I saw the dip. I'll make sure it switches off before the main power comes, otherwise you can have a bit of an explosion, even though it's for less than a second. coming back to Nick, yeah, those things can be fiddly, but you got it going, and that was quite an interesting one there. Martin, yeah. Let me just see what my frequency is like. You know, I don't care about the downlink frequency because many things can play a role. For example, the Doppler shift and also the tuner is not properly stabilized, even though the LNB is stabilized and the Pluto stabilized, but the tuner can drift a little bit. But we have AFC, it doesn't matter. The only reason why I wanted to be close to on frequency is because the guys that use computers without fancy tuners, just with the little dongle or so, SDR receiver, they sometimes battle and they have to hunt for the next station, and it takes long for them to lock. But Mike, you and I are spot on the same frequency, by the way, MJW. What I do is I just check the uplink frequency on a network analyzer, and I just put a carrier up and get it to what it's supposed to be and leave it. I don't care too much about what the receiver says, but mine says 250 exactly. So, and yours as well, Mike. So somewhere we've got something more or less locked. My whole station's locked anyway, except for the tuner itself. And I don't want to go delving in there just to put a GPS in. There's no point, not for TV. Okay, anyway, what else was there? Yeah, Mike, I think of excellent work you're doing on that board. I've got a spare board which I held up, and I could see the differences from my board to your drawing. So good work there, indeed. Nigel, cheers to you. Now, what I'll do, Benno, before you take it, I wonder if Dave wants to come up. That'll be wonderful if he joins us. Haven't seen him for a long time. GKQ. Be lovely if you want to come up, and then you pass it to Benno, Dave. G8 GKQ, perhaps from ZA6 Yankee India.
Yep. I can see that Dave is not coming on, so that's a pity. Dave, always lovely to see your work and to see your face on the net, but I understand when you're busy, you're really busy and you're off, and yeah, I'm also tempted to sometimes not be online. Well, anyway, nice work, Mike. I knew you were cooking something. I understand the way you're heading now, and I think that's the best way. It's a very good way, at least, and for the future it will solve some of the problems in building a nice mini tuner. I will create one, at least the board itself, and I think I'm going to add also quick edit, so it's easier to rebuild if someone wants to make a adapter board for the original one, the one free-wired by Tom and probably by myself before the end of the day, is obviously not a nice one to build. So I think I will create something, at least something on schematics, and then maybe a board on that if needed. But as the way you're going is a complete new board, including all the other updates which are very necessary, and I believe for the next builds will be okay. But I know there are still like 20, 30 boards, 40 boards or 50 boards even in the warehouse, in the BATC shop of the old one. So we still need about 50 FTD modules. Well, maybe a good idea to make a new adapter board just for that. Okay, well, that's all on that issue. And I think people who wants to build one board, they can do that themselves. I at least want to make a test one for Tom and for Colin to check if everything works the way they advised to. They built it, they designed it. Well, that's basically all for now. On the Pluto, yes, I did the DFU, I did the empty memory, I did, as far as I can know, everything I did. I would think it's software related despite, or firmware related, despite the idea that it's pulling quite a bit of power. I checked, it's a version C board, so it doesn't have so many 0 ohm resistors, or it has only one fuse, and that one is okay, but still it pulls quite a bit of current, so I actually need to measure it, how much current it takes, which might look back to the hardware. Well, anyway, I don't know. I will keep on. Yeah, forgot Owen, obviously, all the best wishes. Be careful over there and stay healthy. We really need you. That's on the positive side, obviously. That's all for now. Greetings and see you all. Microphone on to you, Martin. And yeah, my microphone, I know when it touches something, it might change the, it might do something on the on the noise of this microphone. It hangs in a bunch of flexible wires, and I know if sometimes it touches something, it kind of get the noise or the fan noise or rattling noise from that. I hope, because I took care of it now and it was completely free around, and I think otherwise I'm going to test it myself. I heard it myself before and I thought I solved it that way. Well, anyway, microphone on to you, Martin, from Papa Alpha 3 Foxtrot Bravo X-ray, passing it on to you, G4 FKK PA3 Fox Bravo X-ray in the net, and a test card.
Yeah, very good, Benno. PA3 FBX, G4 FKK. Oh, turn that down. Yes, it's still crackling. It seems to be, I don't think it's an overloading or in terms of crackling on peaks problem, because yeah, even when you're talking very quietly, you can still hear the crackling. So something odd there. Diddle 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 diddle. Just reading the chat. As you say, there's a lot going on the chat at the moment. Anyway, very good. And I hadn't even noticed there was a new open tuner, Tom. So I've had a look at that. So I might play with that later on. I'll probably get these watches finished first, and then that's quite an optimistic statement, by the way. There's usually something else that needs tweaking on them. Anyway, once that's done, I'll have a look at OpenTuner 9. Mike, yeah, I'd be very happy to build a Pico retrofit board. I don't know whether all the other 5 connections are available to make it a plug-and-play solution. Probably not, I suspect. But yeah, if it saves some of the original FTDI boards, that's got to be a good thing. Because as Mike says, the existing boards work perfectly well with the old FTDI board solution. I quite like the idea, though. I like the idea, I think you had there, Mike, of putting the hat on top of the Pico. Because I've networked my Pluto now, and it would be really handy to... and obviously the Winter Hill's networkable, but it would be nice to have the dual stream mini tuner on the network as well. Anyway, I'm not going to try and add to any scope creep that might be creeping in there. I say the problem I've come up against, Tom, is just not being... Visual Studio always thwarts me. It never looks the same as everyone says it's going to look like. Yeah, people could do a picture, well, you'll get this screen. I don't know why. Mine's got something missing on that screen, so... but I'll have another go later. I think I'll wait for... I don't know if Martin, I don't know if you've tried programming a Raspberry Pi Pico, but when you have, you can send me the proper idiot's guide, Martin H.I. Sorry to hear you've not been well, Nick. You do sound a bit rough still, but looking very good. I can't read my own writings here. Oh, scrolling on the chat, yeah. Well, I use Chrome, and that seems to do the scrolling okay. And I like your robot vacuum cleaner. I wonder how, when it is working, I wonder how good that is. Martin, yeah, latest DATV Red. Well, there's always a new one. So, and your audio's fabulous, really nice with that microphone in that position. May I ask when the NIM... Adam. Yeah, I'm not quite sure when it'll be available quite soon, Adam. Adam's asking when the NIM... He's put sugar, but I imagine he means tuna. Will be available. They are in the country now, and so we're just waiting for news on how much the authorities are going to charge us for having the audacity to import them. So before we can set a price that we don't need to make we don't need to make any profit on, to be honest, but we don't want to make a loss, so we need to get the pricing right. Where was I with that? Oh yeah, your audio, Martin, excellent. Great to see you, Nigel, if you are copying me. I wasn't copying you. I was copying you fine when you were running 1/4, but then Mike, with his big dish, suggested you could go to 1/2, which should have worked, really, but I couldn't copy you there. In fact, I couldn't even copy you for most of your over, Mike. You're running 3/4, and you were hovering around the D0 mark, and then for a great chunk of your over, it dropped below it, so I lost you. That's not your fault, although you could probably put another 100 milliwatts on your dish and I'd copy you completely. But yeah, good to see you, Nigel. I watched you on the streamer, so I didn't miss anything. Gary, on the standby generator for 4 hours, so obviously load shedding is still going on in South Africa there. Right, well, I think that's enough waffling from me. It's great to see everybody. I wonder where Ed is. I haven't seen Ed for a couple of weeks. I sometimes go to the recording of the net, have a quick look at that during the week. And I've noticed he wasn't on last week, I don't think, and possibly the week before, but hopefully Ed's okay. Yeah, there is something wrong with my dish, Mike, by the way. It got, the boom arm got mangled in the winds, as well as cracking the bracket for the LNB. But I've got it all as good as it's ever going to go now, I think. But I'm a dB down on what I used to have on the beacon. So so there you go. The main problem with it is it's about a third of the size of your dish, I suspect, Mike. Right, okay. Back round to you, Tom. ZR6TG and the Worldwide Net. G4FKK saying cheerio. I'll be watching till the end. and have a great rest of the weekend, y'all. G4FKK is, I'll put a test card up, I'll find the mouse. Where's that gone? Oh, there it is. G4FKK, round to you, Tom. Cheerio.
Thanks there, Martin. G4FKK from Zulu Romeo 6 Tango Golf. Good to see you there. Martin, before you run off there, okay, let me just get the camera overview going. There we go. If you want to play with that Pico on the adapter, you don't actually need to compile anything. Colin has put binaries on the GitHub. You'll see there's a releases section on the side. You can just download the UF2, the .uf2 file, and then if you plug in the Pico while holding the boot select button down, it'll go into flash mode, and then you can just copy and paste that file onto the mass storage device that it creates. So you don't need to fiddle or anything with Visual Studio or anything. There's binary versions for everything, so that should make things a bit easier. Hope that helps. Yeah, I'll go through the list. Gary, yeah, good to see you again as well. Yeah, I've been meaning to come visit, but unless you want me showing up at nighttime hours, it's a bit difficult with the day job stuff. But good to see you there as well. And yeah, I hope Owen is feeling okay. Sucks about the accident, but I'm glad he hasn't gotten hurt himself. Benno, yeah, good to see you there. Yeah, there's still some crackling there on your audio, but listened to everything fine, no issues there whatsoever. And yeah, looking forward to have a look at your adapter board there, and I hope you come alight with the Pluto. Fortunately, I don't have any advice there for you. What else there? Nick, G4IMO, good to see you there as well, and I like your little vacuum. I've been wanting to get something like that along, one of those. But I'm worried that I'm just gonna open it up and fiddle inside with it and possibly break it instead of just leaving it, letting it clean. But good to see you there, and Mike, good to see you as well. That board's looking very nice, and yeah, I'm quite excited about the Pico tuner stuff, especially if I know the Ethernet is still a long way off, but if the Ethernet can get be used and working, that would be brilliant. And Nigel, good to see you there as well. Haven't seen you in a long time either. I received you fine on my side, no issues whatsoever. Low signal, but could follow everything just fine, so no issues there, and I hope you're doing well. Okay, well, it was nice to be back on the net again. I'll be back now a bit more regularly, and thanks for everybody that's been testing the Open Tuner stuff. I do appreciate it, and please do send me feedback. And then the cross-platform version, I'll have some test versions soon as well. But thanks to everybody. Okay, I think that's about. Oh, one more thing. The other guys are probably already playing with it, but I've been trying to experiment with a new material on the 3D printer. It's called ASA. My assumption is I'm probably a bit late to the party and everybody's already printing ASA, but let me just get a bit, yeah. Okay, it's all different pieces, but I'm busy printing one of these. Okay, they're not lined up, but it's printed in ASA, which is similar to ABS, but prints a bit easier. Not as easy as PLA, but easier than ABS for me at least. But it's UV resistant and high temperature resistant, so it's great for things that's going to be outside in the sun. I've been printing a couple of LNB brackets and stuff as well to try it out, because our LNB brackets take a proper beating in South African sun, so it'll be a good test. But yeah, this is a what do you call it? I think it's a Stevenson screen. So I know it's all still in pieces, but it's for putting temperature and humidity sensors inside there. So yeah, that's just a side thing I've been playing with. Evarista, I see your message there. You think that Yes, definitely. You'll actually notice in the latest download there's already some MQTT files there. I'm slowly putting it together for MQTT interfaces as well. And then speaking of the OpenTuner, I've also added in a UDP port similar to what MiniTune always had. So in QuickTune you can set up the OpenTuner as a MiniTune and the QuickTune, and then you can select it from there as well. There's been a couple of requests from that, and I think O1's DATV Net can then also control OpenTuner, but you might have to check with them on that. Okay, that's it from me. I'm gonna call it a day. Good to see everybody, and hope to see everybody again next week. 70. Let's see. I need to hand it over to Nick. Nick, over to you. G4IMO. You're from Zulu Romeo 6 Tango Golf. 73, everybody.
Yep. Okay, Tom. Thanks for that. Yep. Let's turn my volume down. Excuse me. Yeah. Okay, Tom. Yes. Long time since I've heard the term a Stevenson screen. Yeah, we used to have one of those at the airport. Had two mercury thermometers in it. Yeah, old Stevenson screen. I thought Nick was frozen. I'd just be very still. Yes, I think as you get older, you tend to move very slowly, Mike. So anyway, not to worry. Yeah, as far as the little vacuum cleaner, it works very well. I've changed the rechargeable batteries in there for a larger capacity. It's actually got 2,000 milliamp hour batteries in there, and it lasts about 45 minutes on a full charge. So yeah, it works very well. Right, that's about it. Oh, I was going to say, for anybody who doesn't know what the LV18 is, excuse me, the LV18 is a light ship, and it was over at the quay in Harwich. I think it was last weekend. There was a young man who was, I believe, 33 years old, and he started off at the fire station in Harwich, and he had some petrol with him, and he managed to set fire to the railway station there in Harwich, and the police and the fire brigade turned up, and he then made his way down towards where the LV18 was, and he started a fire down there as well, which is a great shame because they just spent I think 35 or 40,000 pounds on the studios on the LV18, which has all been destroyed. And the other thing was in Harwich there's a radio museum there, and a few of the exhibits were on the LV18, so that they've also been destroyed as well. So that's a great shame. But anyway, this man he was caught. So hopefully that they'll take the appropriate action on him. But yeah, that's a huge shame. Right, anyway, that's all very sad. So with that, I'm going to go and have some lunch. Nice to see everybody on here, and hopefully I shall be on next weekend. So I'll say cheerio and see you all next time, and I'll pass it around to Martin there. G8 KOE to take G for IMO.
From G8 KOE. Let's make sure we got audio. Yep, that's good. Let's mute that down there. And you there, Mike, you came straight in. Absolutely. So, yeah, as you say, it just depends. But, yeah, it was absolutely straight in on OpenTuner, which is what I'm using. OpenTuner's coped so far okay. So we will be testing it thoroughly and report back on any findings. Yeah, I was one of the people that suffered with the Windows suddenly opening up all by itself somewhere else. But we keep our fingers crossed, and very useful. And the LV18, that's a big shame. Why? I just don't understand why people have got to do things. You know, the station's bad enough, but you know, history type things, once they're gone, they're gone. I bet the museum also is gutted by whatever they lost. I just, it's a shame. It's, yeah, I don't know what to say. What else was I going to comment on? Yeah, AV1 was the only other thing I queried. I've only just sort of started noticing about AV1 just because it's in DATV Red, and I did notice I could seem to transmit it, but I wasn't quite sure the best way to receive it. So that's my next task. I think possibly the graphics card sort of supports it, but whether that's a help or hindrance, or whether it's just the software side of things. I think VLC does support it, I think, but as I said, I just started sort of surfing around to attempt to get the brain cell working. And idiot guides there, Martin. Yes, I'm good at doing idiot guides, usually for myself, but compiling things, I remember doing it when Jonathan Naylor was doing the DMR firmware, and it was okay until you had to keep up with the version that of the software such that he was using, because he changed at one point, and I did know how to do it, but then luckily future releases were already done, so I could forget all about that and don't have to bother with that side of things. And Pico, I've never played with one at all, but now that you've been Tom has explained to you that you don't need to do anything clever. Raspberry Pis, they drive me insane, but the fact that I've finally got Everest MQTT Longmin working on one, which has got to be me being silly, because it just worked perfectly once I did it yesterday morning. Loaded it all on, opened up DATV Red and thought, it's working. I was expecting to have to do something else. It comes from not fully understanding everything all the time, but we've got there. And the latest firmware's working, so all good there. And yeah, it would be good if one can control OpenTuner from DATV Red, which sounds as though it's a possibility. Look forward to that. That would be good. Just so many things coming together, and yeah, thanks to you there, Tom, for your bits and pieces. I thank everybody really. There's too many thank yous that need to be done. And thank you to Gary for running the net and bringing up the frequency side of things. And now during the week I'm going to have to look closely more at my frequency. But I did notice how you said that Mike was on frequency, so he must use a special technique to set things up. Right, I was just making sure there's no other comments. Right, yeah, I think that's about it from me. Another good net. We've got glorious sunshine. I can't show you because I haven't set up the outside cameras. which is all good. So since my last power cut, when I lost the tumble dryer up in flames, we did have a man come round and look at it, and decided he couldn't repair it, and stuck a red sticker on it, amongst other things. But I have a replacement one arriving on Tuesday, free of charge. So that's the start of the compensation side of things. So they're replacing it, not accepting liability, but replacing it. Right, round to you then, Mike. And the bed needs to be 90 degrees C. God, wouldn't sleep at that. Round to you then, Mike. Test card, and it's all yours.
Okay, a bit more coal for Martin. Sorry, I've clicked on the wrong button. It wasn't off. It was the wrong microphone, which didn't exist. Let's try again. That's better. So, interesting net as always, and the ASA filament looks interesting. I'll try and get some of that at some point. The PLA and nylon absorb water, which is an issue. ABS does print quite well actually, but it does shrink, doesn't it? And I've noticed that when I've been doing some prints that it wasn't perfect, because I tried to do something for Martin and that didn't really work very well when I tried it in ABS. But it's worked previously, so I think I just had the settings that were off. But what surprises me is there's been no progress in 3D printers, or no significant progress. I expected some big changes to happen, but they haven't done so. So there we go. What else? I think that's about it. As I said, I increased the power to allow Martin to see the picture. Sounds like Nigel's got it as well. It has dropped down a little bit now as the amplifier heats up. It's a Stealth Microwave PA, incidentally. And if I just go to the web page and have a look and see what it's running, we'll see how much power we're running now. 12 watts. Well, I can probably increase that a little bit more. Right, that's 15 watts. That might be excessive, I don't know. But yeah, that'll help. We're on 3/4. The difference between 2/3 and 3/4 is about 1 dB. So you need to be 1 dB stronger. The other point I was just making was with these two barometers, they don't agree. The green one is the proper Alderfruit one, which I assume is a kosher qualified device. And the red one is the one that came from AliExpress, half the price. 0.2 millibars. I don't know if that's within the expected error. Probably. That's pretty good. So and there's 0.2 degrees difference in temperature, but the sun's been in and out, and that has been moving those up and down. But they work okay. Right, Nigel, you said you weren't going to come back, so I assume that is the case. Do call on the chat if you do want to come back. Otherwise, 7-3 everybody, and I'll pass it back to Gary. Oh, Benno, yeah, an adapter board. That sounds like a good idea, actually. It's not something I was thinking of doing. Maybe you can do that initially. But we'll see how things go. Right, G0MJW, passing it back to Gary, ZS6YI.
Okay, Mike, good signal. And we seem to be dead on frequency together. Just looking at the line there, it's just nice one straight line. See a little colouring in. Anyway, all good. I want to thank everyone for coming up on the net today. It's been very interesting. Nice to see old faces again. Not necessarily old in the term of age, but old in the form of how we've known one another. So it's been great. Old man Leon, ZS1 Mike, has been watching. He was unable to come on because his computer is sitting at his other QTH. I don't know why. I hope he hasn't got a problem with it, but he has been watching, and we've had many people on YouTube watching. Something like 54 people came up, concurrent viewers 16, 17 right now, so that's good. And I hope everyone on YouTube's had good viewing as well. And we just want to say hi to Ari. He is having a bit of problems with his setup, but I'm sure he'll be back on this net in due course. Hello to Ari Tango Fox 1 Alpha, and then Peter DK3 Zulu Fox. He's always watching. Hello, Peter, and also let me just see. Of course, Adam always watches, but I don't know why Adam doesn't come up. He's always welcome to. Adam, you're welcome to join us anytime. It was always good having you on. I think I said hi to Peter. And then, of course, there's the Italian guy, Claudio. He's on. So there's a number of people also watching. So with that, I'm going to close the net. And anyone wants to continue, of course, be my guest. And we'll see each other next week, all being equal. This is ZS6YI closing the net, bidding everyone happy week. 7-3 all.